Part 3, Developing Healthy Boundaries. Chapter 15, Resistance to Boundaries. We have talked about the necessity of boundaries and their wonderful value in our lives. In fact, we have all but said that life without boundaries is no life at all. But establishing and maintaining boundaries takes a lot of work, discipline, and most of all, desire. The driving force behind boundaries has to be desire. We usually know what is the right thing to do in life, but we are rarely motivated to do it unless there's a good reason. That we should be obedient to God, who tells us that to set and maintain boundaries is certainly the best reason. But sometimes we need a more compelling reason than obedience. We need to see that what is right is also good for us. And we usually only see these good reasons when we're in pain. Our pain motivates us to act. Even with the desire for a better life, we can be reluctant to do the work of boundaries for another reason. It will be a war. There will be skirmishes and battles. There will be disputes. There will be losses. The idea of spiritual warfare is not new. For thousands of years, God has given people the choice of living lives of ruin or possessing what He has secured for them. And it has always involved battles. When He led the Israelites out of Egypt toward the promised land, they had to fight many battles and learn numerous lessons before they could possess the land. We have to fight for our healing as well. God has secured our salvation and our sanctification. In position and principle, He has healed us, but we have to work out His image in us. Part of this process of healing is regaining our boundaries. As we become like Him, He is redeeming our boundaries and our limits. He has defined who we are and what our limits are so He can bless us. Lord, you alone are my portion and my cup. You make my lot secure. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Surely I have a delightful inheritance. Psalms 16, verse 5 through 6. But we are the ones who have to do battle. The battles fall into two categories: outside resistance and inside resistance. The resistance we get from others and the resistance we get from ourselves. Outside resistance. Julie had a difficult time with boundaries most of her life as a child. She had a domineering father and a mother who controlled her with guilt. She had been afraid to set boundaries with some people because of their anger and with others because of the guilt she would feel for hurting them. When she wanted to make a decision for herself, she would listen to other people's anger or pouting and let their reactions affect her decision. Coming out of this family, she married a very self centered man who controlled her with his anger. Throughout her adult life, she alternated between being controlled by her husband's anger and by her mother's guilt trips. She was unable to set limits on anyone. After many years, depression caught up with her, and she ended up in one of our hospitals. After a number of weeks of therapy, she was beginning to understand that she was miserable because she lacked boundaries. She finally decided to take a risk and set some limits with her husband. One day, in a joint session with her therapist and her husband, she confronted him. She returned to her support group in tears. How did it go? One group member asked. Terrible. This boundary stuff doesn't work, she said. What do you mean? The group therapist asked her. I told my husband that I was tired of being treated that way and that I was not going to put up with it anymore. I got angry and started yelling at. He got angry and started yelling at me. If the therapist had not been there, I don't know what I would have done. He's never going to change. She was right. It was a good thing that the therapist was there and that she was in the hospital. She needed a lot of support in learning to set boundaries, for she would encounter a lot of resistance from both her husband and herself. She learned through the next few weeks that others were going to fight hard against her limits, and she needed to plan how she was going to fight back. If she did that, the chances of their changing were pretty good. In fact, that is exactly what happened. Her husband finally learned that he could no longer have it his way for the all the time, and that he needed to consider other people's needs as well as his own.